Okay, so we have this site right here. Not much. What we want to do is start building the site to make it look like 1millionlines.com. So here's about to get into the fun parts of Bootstrap. Go ahead and go to getbootstrap.com. All right, and they've set up this nice little getting started section with us, which you've already seen before. Initially we grabbed this basic template right here. But it also says up here, or modify these examples. So we're going to go down to these examples right here, and look, they have all these starter templates for us. Got the Bootstrap theme, narrow jumbotron. You can make a blog over here. You can make like a one-page, maybe you're a photographer. You can do the carousel here. You might see this with a lot of different sites. All right, so they have all these different examples. Now I'm looking at these examples, and the one that is the closest resembling 1 million lines to me is this jumbotron right here. It's got this top section, just like we have here, and it's got these 3 sections down here, just like we have here. Okay, so we're just going to have to edit a little bit once we get it. So here's how we start with a Bootstrap template. This is cool. So we're going to right click here on the page. We're going to go to View Page Source. This is going to show us all the HTML for this jumbotron template right here. Okay? So copy all this HTML. And a lot of that head section up there should look familiar from the last one. Copy it. Now let's go over to Sublime, and I want you to replace all of this here. Boom. All right, now save it. Go back to Google Chrome. And this is what you see. All right, so we have a problem here. It doesn't look like this. See, you have a lot of the same, or all the same wording. Hello world, blah, 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 learn more, heading, blah, 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 view details. A lot of the same wording, but not the same look. So let me make a quick point before we go into that. You can start to see how the HTML tags are different here. See how they're all consistent, like all the headings? So you could go and look in the document, and you see H2, H2. And that's the point of these HTML tags. So you can start styling them the same, so they have the same characteristics. And you can see all the wording here that is in this document. But like I said, it doesn't look like this. So we know there's a problem with how, we know that there's no CSS, so there's a problem with the connection to the CSS. So let's go check out our HTML document. Remember how we talked about how this whole head section here is the background info, and we have this link to the CSS, the style sheet here? I want you to look specifically here. And remember, this is the link to the style sheet. And just to give you a little example of how you can use W3 Schools, go over to Google Chrome and say href HTML attribute. And W3 Schools will tell you what this href attribute is. So href attribute specifies the URL of the page the link goes to. So it's just saying the address of where the page is. Now, let's get back to this. So, we're trying to find where this bootstrap.min.css file is. And we're doing it in relation to this index.html document. Now, remember before, see this, before we pasted it all? See the difference in the path? CSS/bootstrap.min.css. And then after we pasted it all, it's a lot different. What we're trying to do is find the path from this index file to this CSS file right here, bootstrap.min.css. Okay? Well, I'll just give you a little background info. These 2 dots and slash means to go out of the current folder you're in. We are currently in the first site folder. As you can see here, index is under the first site folder. Now, if we were to follow the directions of this, we would go out 1 folder, which would take us out here, and we would do it again, which would take us even further out. So we definitely don't want to do that. We want to eliminate both of these. Now this is telling the browser to look for the dist folder. Well, there's no dist folder here, so let's go ahead and eliminate that. Now it's saying look for the CSS folder. So we look for the CSS folder, go into the CSS folder, go into it, then look for bootstrap min.css. So we have it right there. That should be the correct path. So now save it. Go back to your template, refresh it. You should have this. All right, so it looks a lot like it. Now I'm going to click back and forth on this and see if you can notice a difference. I know that clicking is kind of annoying, but see the difference in the padding right here? So we're missing one more, something else in the CSS. So let's look up here. See this right here, this custom styles for this template. By the way, this is a comment. You can see these comments throughout the document, and you can see the syntax. The left caret with the exclamation mark, dash, dash, and then what you want the comment to be, and you close it with 2 dashes and a right caret. And comments are basically to communicate with the human reader, so we understand what's going on in the document. The browser just skips over it, the computer just skips over it, so this is strictly for human communication. So we have custom styles for this template. This is the cool thing about Bootstrap. They give us these core, this core CSS up here, and then with CSS, the way it works is we can customize it. And the reason why we can customize it is we're putting this document lower in the HTML document. So it's going to read through all this and get all this CSS, and then we can override it by putting this next document below it. So it's going to read through this top document, and it's going to go through and read through this bottom document. If there's any conflicting rules, it'll take whatever's said in this document. You'll understand this more as the course goes on when you see the examples in real life. But, so we got to find this jumbotron.css document. So we're going to go over here and we're going to view this source. Remember, this is where we originally got it. And this is cool. We're going to click on this jumbotron.css document, and it's going to show us the CSS. So let's copy this. Let's go to Sublime. Now we need to put it here in this CSS document here. So right click on CSS, new file, paste it, save it. Instead of saving it as Jumbotron, let's go ahead and save it as custom.css. Doesn't really matter, I just want y'all to get it ingrained in your brain that this is a document where we customize the CSS. So saved it as that, and you see it go into the CSS folder. Now, just to let you know, you don't have to, but you can delete these documents right here, because the only two we need are the bootstrap.min, as you can see here, and then the custom.css. So we need to get this link to go to that custom.css file. So how do we get there? If you were to say it, like if I was to explain it to you, I'd say you go into the CSS folder, and you go to custom.css. So let's do the same for the computer. Let's tell it, look for the CSS folder, because you're starting from index.html, don't forget about that. Look for the CSS folder, go into the CSS folder, so we're going to add a backslash there, and then it's custom.css. Save it. You also know you have it saved here. Go over here, reload the page, and they should look the same now. But regardless, they don't quite look the same. I'll figure that out. But what is going on is that you can see the change in how we can edit the document from this custom file. So what you've learned in this lesson is how to grab one of these starter templates. Any of them that you want now, you can grab any of them. You know how to grab the HTML information, how to link the CSS correctly, boom, and how to create your own custom CSS document. And next, we'll start making this look like this.